Gamers coverage of Twilight struggle matches. My name is Jessemarshall. I'm here with a non-league match against Matahari. Now, this is a 45-minute game, so I'm going to have to play more, talk less, which I'm sure you're absolutely devastated to hear. So we're going to start 4-4-2. Haven't really had a good look at the hand, but I'm pretty much default on that in general. A few Europe attack cards here. If we get red scared, or purged rather, we're going to have to hold on to that US-Japan in order to play the blockade. We're going to want to hold decal. We're not going to be able to do that if we blockade ourselves, so we're going to have to space it, unfortunately. But what that means is we're going to have to play Socialist Governments and Suez Crisis, which is a bit of a blowout, because it means that we're going to struggle quite a bit for tempo in the early game. So the options are Olympic Games, just for the VPs as a headline. We could headline and blockade ourselves to try and avoid the red scare, but obviously if they headline red scare, we end up pretty screwed with that anyway. Don't really like headlining either of the other Soviet cards. They do too much damage. 5-year plan would be okay, but it's a lot of ops to give up. Duck and cover and 5-year plan are really our only ops that are safe to use here, so I'm just going to headline Olympic Games. Hope that we don't give away the VPs, but we'll play the percentages. Lovely. Okay, so we've got a decent coup target here, which is nice, assuming that we don't want to coup back on Iran, which, yeah, like, to be honest, we probably don't here with a 3-ops card. The other option is to leave Middle East as is and just push into Europe and Southeast Asia, which I also don't mind. Although taking France here when we are going to be giving up influence with Suez Crisis is probably not the best way to go. So instead, let us place one in Malaysia, Lebanon, and query whether we want to go to 2 in South Korea. Generally don't mind that, although US-Japan's probably not going to go off for a while. Really would like to probably play a 2-ops card here, just to go Lebanon and Malaysia, but we don't really have that option. Where is the next best place for us to put an influence given our hand? I mean, normally I would be going to France as a priority next. We can overprotect West Germany to disincentivize them jamming us there. The other option is to coup Egypt straight away. Which, yeah, look, I don't mind because it kind of accomplishes some of the same things. So let's do that because we definitely want to get some mill-ops. They can coup us back out of there, but it does save us having to worry too much about Lebanon at this point, and also NASA's out of the way because they headlined it, obviously, so we can now look to put a bit of pressure on in the Middle East. Alright, it's interesting because it gives us the opportunity to now get the last coup here. Since we're not red scared, we can also use this US-Japan pact and discard one of the other bad events for us, which makes our whole hand a lot better. So anyway, let us coup Iran and hope that we roll exceedingly well. I mean, I guess we can't really complain about that, because now they have to play back into the Middle East. But look, I think I'm pretty happy with this position generally. Probably going to play
that men and nations can cooperate, and that there are no international
Suez Crisis next,
which men of goodwill
especially now that we've lost Lebanon, but we're going to put one into Jordan first, so that we don't lose access to that whole region. One into Malaysia and one into Libya. And then we're going to repair this damage that's going to be done in Europe with US-Japan Pact next action round, hopefully, as well as moving into Thailand. So we've got US-Japan-backed blockade away socialist governments and space decoll are our last three actions here. Okay. So I do want to place some influence now. We'll even things up in the Middle East. We'll start placing something in France. Just because we've got a couple of action rounds, we don't have a lot of action. And I mean, I know that, you know, de Gaulle's still out there. Suez is gone, though. Socialist governments is going to be in the bin. And we don't want them to be incentivized to be jamming or to get caught out if they jam into West Germany in one of these action rounds here now. All right, so let's space now so that we've at least got the option to hold on to the blockade if we absolutely need to. Because there's just no way that we can afford to play decoll here. It gives way too much access to some things that are currently things that we're sandbagging reasonably effectively. Unfortunate that we lose Truman. It's quite sad, but our opponent is quite intently making their way across Asia here. So perhaps it may be good for us to try and shut that down a little bit and not give them the opportunity to threaten to jam us with the China card, whilst also threatening our own approach across Asia. Europe scoring a really nice draw here. We've also got de Gaulle, which means that we can control Europe a little better. We've got Indo-Pakistani War, which isn't necessarily a bad headline to try and muscle our way into India. Defectors is also okay, obviously always, but we might perhaps hold that for turn 3, although it's a lot weaker on turn 3 if they know that you have it. I don't mind playing the war later in the turn if we need to, so I think I'm just going to headline defectors here. That was good. That's probably the remaining card in the Soviet deck that we wanted to not allow them to have at this precise point, obviously other than D-Style. A reasonable result, although obviously a little bit annoying that we don't have the special relationship bonus. But let's, we'll hold on to Marshall Plan, which we may well event to finish things up in Europe. So let's, for now, I do kind of want to threaten domination, I think. We also don't want to allow them to score Middle East, though. So we can afford to go to dominate over a couple of action rounds in Europe, I think. So we can go kind of 1, 2... to set up a Marshall Plan domination next AR. Let's go with 3, 4, I think, into Libya. Yeah, we just don't want to leave any regions hanging as dominated for them at this point. We've got we drew very well there, getting 2 4-ops cards that are playable. I mean, all the 4-ops cards are playable as the US in the early war, I guess. But getting 2 relevant cards as well as having a positive scoring card as well. Okay, so looks like they do have Middle East scoring, which I don't think we're going to try and shut down here necessarily, although we can deprive them of Lebanon with 3-ops. But I'm pretty happy to give them Middle East scoring if they want to give us Europe, considering we win on that VP trade. Whoops, so let us go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And say, okay, you can have your 3 VPs and we'll take 5, thank you. And then getting the mill-ops from the war is going to be really nice. So I think I might do that in the next AR once we score Europe. Yeah, so the query here is whether we just use Warsaw Pact to move in on South Korea and give them the chance to flip it with the war. I think I don't love doing that in terms of dedicating our whole AR to it. And what I would rather do, I think, is not give up the tempo from the war either in case the Indo-Pakistani war. I think I do want to trigger this, although maybe I just want to score Europe. Just because triggering that obviously gives them the opportunity to grief us a little bit more on the Europe scoring. We are down to 5+ on the war as well in both of the places where it's relevant. The other thing we can do is flip Lebanon. I'm just going to score Europe because I don't think that with the cards in our hand we can successfully parry away both South Korea and Middle East scoring from this point and be trying to defend our position there. Interesting. So they're solidifying their position in Asia, giving us only 6s to flip either India or Pakistan. But I think I'm still happy to take the 1 in 6 since we get the 2 Mill-Ops points as well. So let's try for India. We fail, but we get the Mill-Ops, that's okay. And perhaps they score, but so be it at this point, I think. Okay, so they don't have the scoring card, which means we can actually look to even up the country count here, I think. Don't mind that too much. So 2 ARs left. We might try and we'll put CIA back into the deck. We might do that on our last AR though. We might even up South Korea and then we'll eventually take Taiwan since they've given us Formosan. So we'll try and do that over the next couple of ARs. We know that, but we can also look to even up some of these non-battlegrounds as well in Asia because they're only up by 1 country at the moment. So we may, in fact, take Indonesia with this CIA created, depending on what they do in our last AR, just so they can't headline scoring cards with impunity. Oh, this is even better. We get 2 influence out of it. Okay, so we lost South Korea, but we can still even up the country count here by taking Malaysia and Indonesia. And then we can look to take Taiwan next turn. And then if at some point in the game we can flip Pakistan, then we can regain some equanimity in Asia. So they've got Korean War. We unfortunately held De Gaulle, which is obviously not ideal, but we do have control of Middle East scoring, which is okay. We got Defectors again, which I am going to headline because there's just a lot of relevant cards out there that they could hit us with, and that's pretty sweet. I don't really know why they headlined it there. Just wanted to bank some VPs, I guess. So they're going to coup us in one of these Middle East areas, I assume. If they don't, then that's very sweet for us. No, they do. Pretty much. Oh, going to Panama instead. Okay. So the option for us is to try and fill up Israel. I don't mind just flipping Lebanon here, though. And then forcing them to spend a 3-ops card to flip it back. I think that's okay. Our other options just are not great. Like filling up Israel, it's just going to be such a blowout if we get warred, even if it's 6. And it just takes a couple of ARs for us to do that, whereas we can even up Lebanon in one go. So let's do that. I know they can take Syria now, but then we can take Jordan with 1-op. Yep, so we've got 3. Yeah, we'll start our spread in Africa. So we're going to have to play De Gaulle, which is unfortunate. So we might try and... From Vietnam, we're going to have to play in our last AR. We've got 3 problematic events here, which sucks. Okay, so we're going to have to concede Middle East here because we've just got too many problematic cards in our hand. That's okay. We did give up an extra victory point by pushing that for another turn. So perhaps that was an error, but
the challenge
we
of the
didn't know what they
20th
were going to do.
century is the challenge of human relations and not of impersonal natural
Sorry,
forces.
let's space D-style first. Missed on both our space race rolls, which is unfortunate. 2 more ARs. I think we'll probably play the empty socialist governments. Like, the longer we keep them out of France, I think the better. Okay, they're really keen not to give us US-Japan Pact. Yep, so let's just trigger the socialist government, see what we get. They may deprive us of Turkey access. No. Okay. Just wanted to say, so we're not getting Japan until late war, but they're also not getting to score Asia again. So I'm not too fussed about that. I think we probably just overprotect Thailand. Actually, no, look, if they want to give us the China card next turn for Thailand, that's fine. So West Germany and probably not Colombia since we got rid of D-Star. Let's just go into Cameroon. Don't mind headlining Southeast Asia scoring, but I think we just probably headline grain sales instead at this point. Yeah, let's headline grain sales. Alright, well, we might try and realign them here. So we'll just... Actually, we can just play into Central America instead. I think that's probably better. We'll return the Korean War. And we'll just place some influence in Panama and I think we've got a pretty strong coup position here this turn with the amount of business that we have. And we've got access anyway to South America with OAS, which means we don't need to play into Colombia. Interesting choice. Now, where do we want to brush war them this turn? I mean, I don't love necessarily brush warring Angola, but it's not too bad. It gives us the mill-ups and kicks them out of a whole continent, so... Oh well, doesn't kick them out of a whole continent because we're not successful, but anyway. I think it was still an okay play. Southeast Asia scoring is probably next, unless they flip Thailand this AR. Okay, so let's just do that. And then if they want to try and even up Africa, we can just take Algeria here. We can also hold nuclear subs to headline. I want to also hold OAS founded probably for AR6 and then build on that with nuclear test ban and AR7. So they haven't evened up Southern Africa yet. Maybe I want to make the OAS plays now. OPEX 3 VPs, I'm not super keen on that. Let's get rid of that. So Willie's, as usual, here only worth 1 op for us. Just place 1. And 1 in Algeria. Just keep building on that. Now African possibilities. We do want to get rid of De Gaulle at some point here, not just hold on to it endlessly, but I think we've got enough action in the remainder of our hand that we want to probably use it. We can just self-repair with De Gaulle once we take Angola as well. Sorry, once we take Algeria, I should say. Okay, so they do even up there. Which means that we'll probably want to keep our domination. But I think I'd rather actually just start moving into South America and threatening that. If they want to score Africa at even, that's okay. If it gives us South America, I think at this point.
En las condiciones de la inmensa mayoría de los países de América Latina,
A nuclear subs would be nice, but not incredible given the state of the board at the moment, so we can't afford to play that instead of the De Gaulle if absolutely necessary here. But if they score Africa again, one of the bigger downsides of De Gaulle does go away in terms of giving them access to Algeria. Okay. Interesting. Let's go. Now we can afford to play De Gaulle in our last AR if we want to. Possibly flipping Thailand. No, flipping Zaire, okay. Interesting. Let's just leave it at that. Bear trap will be nice here. We've got to be careful of this lone government, but they've given us the China card, so that, and we've got SALT negotiations if all else goes to hell. Plus we've got JFK, didn't even notice that. Alright, this is going to be interesting. I still think we probably just want to set up a South America control with this AR if we get the extra one. No, we don't. Okay. So, do we want to coup or do we want to shore things up with our excellent ops in our hand? I think we want a coup because we want to protect our South American position. So let's coup with shuttle diplomacy on... the other thing we can do is play nuclear subs once DEFCON's down. But In any case, let us coup one of their countries here.
A nivelului de trai material și spiritual al poporului, în spiritul hotărârilor Congresului Partidului.
Okay. So now, I think I just want to get control and threaten that score, since they're not even threatening a domination here in Africa on this AR. See if they've got a way to disrupt it.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
So now I think we can afford to play reasonably heavily into Africa, obviously. This coup's fine. We don't really need to get into a coup war on non-battlegrounds because we're currently ahead on mill-ops is the other thing. So what are our other options? We can red scare for something if it looks like they want to be scoring on the next AR, but I think Voice of America, Brush War, I'm not loving anything there particularly. I think I'd rather make another threat if we can. Don't mind threatening to take North Korea back here, although playing the China card we do lose the Formosan, so it's not really that much of a boon for us. Perhaps we just play nuclear subs and threaten to coup all of their battlegrounds out in Africa. What do we get? 2 coups out of it. I think it's probably worth it. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. And then we get to JFK away lone gunman on our last AR, or potentially have 3 coups if we really decide to, but I think that's a little greedy, holding on to lone gunman at this point. Because yeah, I think this just really threatens to turn around Africa. I mean, assuming that they don't realign us successfully out of Zaire on this AR, it threatens to put us in a pretty good position, I think, in Africa. Okay, I mean, that's fine. If they want to jam in response to nuclear subs, we get to spend 1, get a profit out of that AR basically, because you know, they've spent 3 ops and we've been able to repair it plus take another battleground country with our own 3 ops in return. Again, I think fine to just go 1. Do we have any other priorities for where to go? Could take Mexico. Or do we coup? I don't think we do. Like with Europe still hanging, I think if we hold on to Europe, we're in a pretty good position to win here. So I think we just actually overprotect ourselves in Europe for now.
What your country can do for you.
I do probably want to take Greece before in the next 2 turns before Brush War gets reshuffled, but it's not super important right now. Okay, well that's unfortunate, but yeah, that's very unfortunate. Anytime you fail a bear trap, you feel like you're pretty hard done by. Puppet governments as a headline here, not amazing. Colonial rearguard's pretty good. I think in terms of disrupting what they're trying to do in Africa, and we do get to UN intervention, lone government later in the turn, which is nice. The other option is to headline Europe scoring here and then win with Nixon, which I don't mind doing. So they get 2 coups. Fair enough. They may be able to stop us. Oh, they just do that instead. That works as well, I guess. That's unfortunate. Always forget that ABM treaty doesn't necessarily just mean coup. Oh well, that's what we get for headlining a scoring card. I did feel apprehensive. I was still apprehensive headlining a scoring card. There you go. Ah, 2 fails. Damn. This has been most unfortunate. Oh dear. Now it's becoming comical. Now we have to start getting rid of good cards. Dear, dear me. Yeah, I think we got these ones. Nope. Alright. Wow, this is going to make for some interesting viewing. I hope you're enjoying yourselves as much as I am. Colonial rearguards is probably still better than puppet government since Africa scoring is going to be back in next turn. Oh, nope. Well, we're not going to get either of them, so there you go. We're going to get to hold on to UN intervention and lone gunman though, I guess, which is nice. That's a lot of ARs in a row. So we've now lost 8 ARs. Oh dear. That's really sad. So what do we do here? We can Junta, we can Alliance for Progress for some VPs. We can duck and cover, which is a little risky. Again, just gets us VPs. Go like Junta for a play.
Нам посмеетесь, когда мы, знаете, обгоним вас и скажем, господа, капиталисты, до свидания.
We can at least deprive our opponent of access to South America this way. Okay, so we get to just coup them in Cuba to degrade DEFCON, I think, is the answer. And now they can have duck and cover because we want Alliance for Progress more, I think. So look, I mean,
our goal is not the victory of might, but the vindication of right.
Wasn't too
not
bad.
Peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom here in this hemisphere.
All right, do we get out of the quagmire now?
Around the world.
Yes.
God willing.
Fantastic.
That goal will be achieved.
All right, we're back in the game. 6 VPs from Alliance for Progress is always nice, so I think we'll just score that next turn, assuming nothing else goes wrong here. Yeah, so let's do that. We don't want to get Brush Ward out of Italy though, so perhaps we just shore that up first. With the old one in Greece, and where else do we want to play at this point? It's looking pretty dire everywhere else, I have to say. Perhaps we just take some presence in Africa for the old 1 VP that it's worth. And threaten that surrounding Nigeria and realigning them out at some point if we can. Okay, coup for them, that's fine. We'll take the Alliance for Progress points. Interesting. Okay, so they're trying to kill us, I think, which is unfortunate, but lucky that we've got this UN intervention. Let's play this, so we can at least see what's coming. Okay, nothing particularly special, but good to know about Panama Canal. So we'll coup with this one down here. Nope. Things really not going our way on the dice front anymore. But that's okay, we can hope to coup our way back in Africa at some point. So we've got to watch the country count in Europe, but we've got 3 countries that are only 1 away from being controlled by us. I think we might do one of those in the next AR, just to be sure. And we are also going to have to allow them into Chile, which is very unfortunate. So with that in mind, let us... We'll actually just overprotect Chile. I mean, we're telegraphing that we have Allende by doing that, but I think it's better to protect ourselves at this point, since South America is really our only way to try and actually win this game. So I'm trying to hold on to this control for 1 more turn. Hope that it gets us there. Alright. AOX out to Saudis, okay. Soviet shoot down Cal, not amazing, but, you know, a source of VPs, but I think we'd probably prefer the 4 at this point. We can take the China card back, and everything else is pretty miserable for us, unfortunately. We haven't got the sweet tear down this wall to try and mise our way back into West Germany. What to headline, what to headline? Probably it's just Europe scoring to get out of the way, I think. Then getting couped in South America, I assume. Very sad. Let's go with some... We don't need 4 ops for this. I'll just give that a go. Let's see if we can get the realigns happening. They might move to try and take Peru to realign us, threaten the realign in Chile, but I mean, obviously they can take Paraguay as well to defend. Or they might coup us in Uruguay, which I think is a little riskier. Oh, I guess not so much there. What are they going to do? Yep, they're going to do both. Very good. So now what do we do? I think we'll coup Paraguay without 4 up. Even though it gives them a turn to realign us in. Do we really want to do that? I think so. Maybe not, because we then don't have the access to come back in. To Chile if we get realigned out, whereas they do in Argentina if they get realigned out. The other option is to coup Peru and just try and stabilize that area and then keep threatening Argentina after that. I think we'll do that. Yes, the dice have really betrayed us, unfortunately. I think we'll coup again here. We'll let them have Pershing. I think we are going to falter under the weight of just how far behind we are in so many regions here, but we are going to keep fighting. And if we can manage to swing one or two of them back, you just never know. We can swing one region each turn over the next 2 turns, we'll be okay. So we can even things up, but I think keeping on threatening in South America is probably better. Like, we can even up the country count in Europe, but we can easily do that later on anyway in the turn. We can coup our way into Africa, but again, I don't think that's amazing. Although coupping Saharan states is nice, so we can threaten the Algeria rail line. But I think I want to really try and root them out here. No. 2 1s out of 3 coups in a turn after being stuck in quagmire for an entire turn. It does feel a little brutal. Okay. That hurts. But, you know, I mean, South African unrest is playable here. Muslim revolution's not, so we're going to have to space that or Marine Barracks this turn. Alright, we'll just give them that. I mean, they might have brush war here and be hoping to flip Italy for the win, which would be very, very unfortunate. But we'll keep fighting this as much as we can. Yeah, having the 2 fouled coups not only is the fouled coups, but is the lost tempo and the fact that what we were trying to turn into threats just did not eventuate.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
So we'll space this, and then I think we'll not take the last turn, because, I mean, we can coup, but I think losing that much influence from Marine Barracks bombing is just really bad. And that was probably good timing that we did not do that. Alright. Tear down this wall is a good one to get. Terrorism and grain sales, obviously nice as well. So I think we can probably afford to just try and realign later.
Ради возрождения Родины идти вперед по пути социалистического обновления.
And do we want to just grain sales now? We probably do, because we may even be able to flip Middle East with that, which wouldn't be too bad. And we can still realign with grains with tear down this wall later. Don't really want to play We Will Bury You. Do I want to play We Will Bury You? Just to cut the hand size and to deprive our opponent of 4 ops, but we miss out on the coup. We could realign Israel using it. We could do realignments, and Israel could be one of our targets. Don't hate that. I mean, giving them 3 VPs does suck. And we don't really have a lot of other great realignment targets. I mean, Argentina's okay. So what would it be? Realign Israel and then try and take it, knowing that we've got Camp David Accords. I think missing out on the coup does suck, but that's probably just as likely to be successful as trying to coup Iran with the 2 ops. The other option is to coup into Africa. I think I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to do the realignment. Okay. The dice are against us once more. Oh dear, that's very sad. We just cannot win with the dice rolls today. Even at +2. Sad face. But you know what? All we can do is keep on trying. So in that vein, let us Camp David Accords, I think. The other option is to shuttle diplomacy. We can Iran-Iraq war. Yeah, I don't mind that. 6+ anyway. Nope. At least we've got some mill-ups, I suppose. Let's do this and see if we can get really lucky. Yeah. Not really lucky. But at least we forced them to spend some ops, I suppose. It's unfortunate that literally none of our ploys worked out this turn. Let's dump this Middle East score. I don't think it's getting any better. Now we probably want to shuttle diplomacy in case Asia scoring comes out next turn. It's probably better than what we can do with any 3 ops at this point. Terrorism, probably not really going to help. 1. What do we want to break? We've got a lot of ops in the rest of our hand, so we can start doing a bit of stuff here. I think we want to start griefing them in Europe a little bit. Let's do this. Okay, the griefing in Europe was short-lived, unfortunately. Let's get rid of this. I've got some good cards to carry over. Terrorism, I'm just not feeling particularly confident about it. Let's do South America and then fight them here. For the realigns, we'll just hope that we get lucky. Come on. No. Could not do it.
The totalitarian world produces backwardness because it does such violence to the spirit, thwarting the human impulse to create, to enjoy, to worship.
Okay, let's just go again. And once more. Good. It's probably not going to be enough, but having scoring is helpful. Unfortunately, our hand is absolutely horrible. So, I think this is probably the best we can do. If we can miraculously manage to take control of South America, then maybe we have some small arithmetical chance of winning, because we can coup into Central America, potentially reline out of Cuba, but boy, it is worrisome. Especially with Africa scoring in our hand and no Aldrich games. Sad face. Interesting. Okay. So we'll go with this to maybe just we'll play 2 actually. No. They have no other way to break. Oh, they do. They can break Chile. Okay. Yep, we'll just go 2. Oh no, they might have Thatcher. Fine, we'll go 3. Yeah, look, things are pretty dire with Africa scoring here. No real way to break in. I mean, we can, how I learned, try for it that way. Yeah, just farming VPs, fair enough. Yeah, losing Mexico there was a real pain in the butt for that reason. Also, it is actually quite good. Let's go with a coup on Saharan states and then try and realign them out. And another one. Another one. I think we need to actually take the sure things here, so we'll yeah, we'll try the coup again.
The totalitarian
we
world
might
produces backwardness
coup Cameroon,
because
depending
it
on what
does
they
such
do,
violence
so that we
to
can
the
try and
spirit,
realign them out of 2 battlegrounds
thwarting the human impulse to create,
in a turn, if we get lucky,
to
rather than
enjoy,
just the 1.
to worship.
Yeah, let's do that. At least give it a go. Here.
Today I say, as long as this gate is closed, as long as this star on the wall is permitted to stand, it is not the German question alone that remains open.
At least that's something.
But the question of freedom
We are dead,
for all.
but we are going down fighting. Ah well, that's a good game. Very sad, but these things happen. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game. That was something truly remarkable that has not happened to me before, so I hope that it doesn't happen to you anytime soon in terms of getting a whole turn taken off you with either Bear Trap or Quagmire, considering not only did that happen, but the headline of Europe scoring turned into a neutral score when we were essentially 1 AR away from victory. It's brutal, isn't it? But it's a brutal game. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll hopefully be back with a slightly more pleasurable game next time around. Thanks for watching. I've been Jessemarshall for The Winning Agenda.